Hey, it's Badmouth. Hey, I'm here with Mallory.
Hi.
Welcome to the CCA corner, guys. We kind of decided to pull down the first episode of Surviving Your 90 Days and redo it in this new format. We learned a lot from that episode, and in order to deliver the best podcast we can, we took all the feedback we received and compiled it here to bring you How to Survive Your First 90 Days, a comprehensive guide. So buckle up, Buttercup. This one's probably going to be a little long, but I promise it'll be worth it. All right. So what we're going to be covering here is we're going to be covering the office and the street, and then we're going to tackle some miscellaneous topics and some tips and tricks and some other important tidbits. And I'm sure we're going to miss some stuff, and you guys are great about getting a hold of us to let us know what we missed, and that's some stuff that we can tackle later. All right. So yeah.
Yep. CCAs, I'm sure you're all aware of this. CCAs are our future. Not just because they're going to take over when the retirees are gone, but because CCAs are the support network for our regulars. You know, our regulars are dependent on CCAs if they're not on the overtime desired list. CCAs are going to help cover off days and sick leave, and CCAs are going to be there when everybody retires, quits, or gets hurt and can't work anymore. So when I say CCAs are the backbone of the post office currently, that's why. It's incredibly shameful that our CCAs are treated so poorly. So that's why we need a movement like this to unite the CCAs in solidarity and to empower each other to keep strong and become educated and protect each other against the tyranny of management. When you're in Carrier Academy, you should always sign up for the union. The union, while they can't really protect you all that much in your first 90 days, eventually you will be out of your 90 days, and the union will have the ability to file grievances on your behalf and protect you from management and their bullshit. After your 90 days, you will have so much more job security than in your 90 days, and that's where the union comes in. And they will give you their number. You can call them. For example, this thing that management's telling me to do doesn't seem safe. That doesn't seem right. Who do I need to talk to? What's right here? You call them, and they'll tell you the answer. That's their job. That's my job as a steward. That's your steward's job. That's your branch president's job. If you're ever unsure about anything at all or want to know something, just call your union people. We'll help you, or reach out to us in one of the various ways. So with that little tidbit, I'm going to hand it off to Morris. Morris is going to tell us all about the office and how things are going to be in the office and what you should expect there and all that. So, Morris, by all means.
Yeah. So from my experience, the office is going to be the most stressful part of your day. And it's going to be the beginning of your day. So we're going to get that nonsense and get that stress out of the way. First off, the office is where you got to deal with management. You don't when you're out on the street. So we're just going to tackle this. So you're likely in your first 90 days, you're likely to be scheduled about an hour into the regular shift, and it's going to feel hectic when you walk in. At least in my experience, it has. And you might be scheduled, but you also might be scheduled at the same time as the regulars. Whatever the case may be, you're going to feel out of place, and that's okay. It's your first day. You got this. It's first day of school. It's always a little scary. Everything's fine. Everything's going to be fine. You'll probably be given it's some short, confusing instructions from management, but we're going to break down some of that in just a little bit. Just remember that you got this. You got this. Just chill. Everything's fine. So, some folk, when you get there, there's going to be other carriers, and some are going to be really helpful, and some aren't going to give you the time of day, honestly, because they're waiting to see if you stick it out for a while. Because CCAs don't last that often, and but you're going to be there. So just stay calm, do your best, my dude. We're going to be one of the ones here who are super helpful to you so that you can be successful in your new career. Don't worry about the ones that don't give you the time of day right now. They'll eventually come around, okay? So the post office has this churn and burn atmosphere where most people, they just don't expect you to make it out of your 90 days, and that's okay. That's their problem, not yours. You're going to prove them wrong. You're going to stick this out. You're going to be good at your job, and we're going to help you with that, okay? So you're going to get some on-the-job training. You'll be you'll be assigned to a regular who's called your OJI, your on-the-job instructor. They're going to be pretty cool, right? My on-the-job instructor was Tremont Smith. I love that man. I still text him sometimes with questions. I got a year and 7 months in, right? So they're going to be just as cool as your union representatives, and you can ask them questions all the time. It's your OJI, your on-the-job instructor's job to make sure you succeed and equip you with the knowledge you need to be successful. So, but what comes after your 3 days follow around your OJI? You're going to be out on your own, and it's not that it's scary, but you got this. Okay, that's going to take us to our next section. Surviving after the OJI. So you're probably not going to have to worry about casing at first, though you might. We've had some people tell us that they cased immediately when they came in. I've not seen CCAs in my station do it, but it does happen. But the time in the office will likely be short at first. We're not going to talk much about the office, but we'll come back to it in future episodes, okay? So it's not as hard as it seems, but it can feel super intimidating in those first couple weeks. Though most likely you'll be assigned a section of a route or smaller sections of different routes cased up and loaded into a cart sitting ready for you already, all right? They're going to give you a scanner, you're going to get a vehicle key and an arrow key pointed to your cart full of DPS, parcels, and flats and be told to load up and head out. Every office is different though, and it's hard to say for sure what you're going to be walking into, but we're going to cover some tips and tricks that we've learned to make this feel less intimidating for you, all right? First and foremost is to just fucking chill. You're going to feel a lot of pressure to perform and be perfect. That's all bullshit. No matter how fast you go, they're going to try and push you to go faster. Just show up on time, work safely, and do your best. That's 90% of making it through your first 90 days. Richie Ray calls it a no mistake pace. I was told in my training to move at the pace that you want to retire at. You're going to be focusing on accuracy and safety and a job well done. Not a job done fast, a job well done. Okay? So just chill. Next step, first thing I do when I get to the office after clocking in is to check my truck. We're going to check our truck, okay? Never skip this step. Form good habits. We talked extensively in the last episode about forming good habits, and that starts on day 1, right? Always check your truck and report to your supervisor any safety deficiencies with the truck. Ask someone to go outside with you and check your brake lights, right? Your turn signals and flashers, your headlights, all 4 tires. If something is wrong with any of these, report it immediately. You may be told to drive it anyway, right? Because management, that's... Yeah, I'm not going to get into it, but they might tell you to drive it anyway. So what should you do in that situation?
I'll tell you what I would do. I would talk to my union representative and see what they say. If you're unsure, if you're intimidated by your management and you don't know any better, talk to your OJI even if your union rep isn't around. Say, hey, I don't have working headlights, but management's telling me to drive it anyway. What should I do? Well,
yeah.
But regardless, if none of them are there, here's the truth of the answer. You do not have to subject yourself to any kind of unsafe instruction from management. Management can say, why don't you go out and deliver a package to this house where there's a really, really mean dog and we don't make any other carriers go there, except now you have to do it. No. If there's a dog warning and they're, I guess my point is, management can instruct you to do all the things in the world, but if you determine that it's unsafe, it is unsafe. You fill out a 1767, which is a report of unsafe practices. And the thing is, management has to take that 1767 and forward it to district. So if they determine I guess you can't drive that vehicle then, fine, we'll figure something out. You don't put yourself in an unsafe position. You have the right to refuse to do unsafe things, and you have the right to refuse to do unlawful things as well.
Yeah. And so the 1767, that might be a little bit high test for your first 90 days, but
your steward and your OJI will know what a 1767 is. Sorry, I interrupted you, but
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. You're good. So, like, filling out that safety report and stuff like that, a good steward and a good OJI is going to handle all of that for you. That's why you want to talk to them about it. And, the biggest defense you're going to have for everything in your first 90 days is, I'm new, right? Just lean into that. Use that. Use that to be like, hey, this doesn't seem safe. I'm new. I don't know. Like that's gonna help, and your OJI and your steward are going to be able to back your play on some of that stuff.
you can use the excuse "I don't know" once for everything.
Yep. We call that the Homer Simpson defense. It's my first day. Okay, so now we checked our truck, okay, and now we got back in and we got our big gurney cart. I heard some people call them pumpkins. They call it different things all over the place. But your big gurney full of your route or your handoff. Ask who cased up your route, and they'll be able to give you a breakdown. Where's your walking? Where's the hopping? Where's your curbside, right? Anything you should know about apartments or CBUs, any quirks about the line of travel, any dogs or problematic customers, businesses closed. This will give you a good idea what to expect when you're out on the street. Ask if they'll help you rubber band your DPS for walking sections. Most carriers will do that for you. Ask how long the handoff should take, but remember, don't feel pressure to make that time. You're a newbie, okay? We're not worried about speed right now. We're worried about safety, accuracy, and a job well done. Speed will come later. And even then, speed is the least important of all four of those things, right? This is just a reference point for you to compare what the regular's estimate was versus what management says. You can also ask for what's called a pivot plan, and this will show you your park points. They might have a map for you, which is super helpful, but not every office has one ready for you. Some offices, they may even have detailed instructions, but don't get your hopes up. I know in my experience, I've never seen one until Mallory was telling me about it, and I really wish I had one of those when I first started.
See, the thing is, if there's going to be written instructions, a carrier will have done that in their own free time, like written up instructions for the people who do their route outside of their, like, on their days off and stuff. Like, carriers aren't getting paid to write instructions for the routes or anything. So if you have instructions for your route, it's because whoever runs that route normally is really, really, really kind.
Yeah, and I have had like placeholder cards in the case that kind of tell me some tricks like that. But yeah. Okay. So the route book is also going to have a page called 1564A, which has park points, break locations, and all other kinds of good information in it. Make sure that if you're not sure about something, you ask questions. That's the big thing. And don't ask management questions. Ask carriers questions, because management's just going to tell you the easiest thing to get you out of the door and on the street. A carrier is going to actually give you the lay of the land and the skinny, right? Okay, so now that we've done that, we're going to load our truck, right? Do it the way they trained you at Carrier Academy. We just got done with Carrier Academy, right? So we're going to do that. If the load truck feature is down, separate parcels by street, and don't be afraid to ask for advice from your OJI or the carrier who cased the route. They can help you a lot in that. When you use the load truck feature on the scanner, it'll give you a number, and you can write this number on your packages and use the numbers to know what packages are coming up next, right? And I believe you can ask your OJI to show you where it can break it down by stop versus the number, package number. That's all stuff. You'll learn about that when they send you to Amazon Sunday too. So the number that shows up on the load truck is the stop that package belongs to. 7 will be your 7th stop. 43 will be your 43rd stop. All right. So the other thing I like to do is I dog ear my DPS. The cat's casing your handoff should be marking the start of every swing by turning the first letter of each swing on its side. So when you got your tray of mail, it's split up with letters turned on their side, sticking out like flags. But if they didn't do that for you, you can do that, right? Just look where the case where the swings are, those are marked by a double line in the case, and you can do that yourself, right? So if you have big packages in the back, I'm short, I can't reach everything from the cab. I got to get out and load from the back sometimes, and I will take those big packages in the back, figure out what the addresses are on them, find those letters in the DPS, and mark where that stop is for that big package by dog-earing my DPS, turning a letter up, just like we're marking where the swings start, right? You're contractually allowed to do this. Don't let management tell you it's a time-wasting practice, okay? Because that way you're not having to hop out and look you know exactly when you need to go to the back for that big package, right? Don't let management tell you it's a time-wasting practice, all right? To hell with that. The M41 handbook, which is our handbook as carriers, states in section 225.16, which covers casing magazines, papers, flats, etc. in the 2-bundle system. And here's the language. 225.16. Sort stiff cardboard articles and large newspapers and magazines on ledge, usually by relays, then route them in sequence of delivery. The letter may be reversed in the letter separation for a customer receiving a parcel or odd size article that cannot be routed in the flat separation. This will serve as a reminder when on the route that there is a large or odd size piece for this customer. That's just the contractual language for what I just said. We are contractually allowed to mark our big packages by turning a letter on its side, like we were saying, right? That'll make it a lot easier on you. You don't got to keep notes. You can just use the DPS for that. And Mallory's going to cover what we're doing when we go to the street. But before that, we're going to have a quick fake commercial break.
Today's episode is brought to you by your Weingarten rights. If you reasonably believe that a conversation could lead to discipline, ask for your steward. Management cannot deny you that right, and if they do, they violated your Weingarten rights. Know your rights.
All right, so now your truck's loaded. It's time to get out on the street. Congrats on making it to the street. Hopefully, you scanned your hot case and you clocked to street, and then you scanned depart to route, because you got to do that too. But congrats on making it to the street. What to expect here is the exact opposite of what you can expect from the chaos in the office. It kind of depends what neighborhood you're in and the weather around you, but you are free now, my dude. You are not being hounded by everybody. You are not around 80 million people. It's just you and your truck and the mail and whatever else you encounter. You are in your neighborhood. You are in your community. Make sure you do things right now, because bad habits are really hard to break later. So we're going to break down how to do things correctly for you so you never get into bad habits for the start. Because I'll be the first to tell you, it's really, really hard to break bad habits. I broke bad habits. Don't do it. Don't do bad things. The main thing you will probably be doing is walking parking loops, dismount deliveries, or mounted boxes. So there's 3 main types of deliveries we can expect. The parking loops, which is where you park your truck and you walk a street or a block or a couple blocks. Dismount deliveries, or jump stops, as we call them. This is where you pull up to an address, you park the truck, you deliver a couple deliveries, maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3, and then you get back in. And mounted boxes are what they sound like. It's boxes on the street that you pull up to and you service it from your truck. There's also business delivery. If you have a business, you have to go in, deliver to the business, and check and see if they have outgoing. These are probably nearly impossible for us to break down because every business is different. Everyone will have their mail in a different place. It's really just dependent on how they run things. Because, if I get sent out on a different route that I've never done before, I walk in a business and say, "Hey, I got your mail. You have anything going out?" Because I never know. The best thing you can do when you're not sure when you walk into a business is say, "Hey, I'm new with the post office. I'm not sure where to take your mail." 99% of people who are working there will be happy to help you and appreciate that you asked, because there's a lot of people that just kind of don't care and just throw it in and then just walk away. You don't want to do that. We're going to do it right for the first time. You're going to make good relationships with your customers because it helps a lot. So With the main types of delivery identified and a quick tip for businesses out of the way, let's go over parking loops and dismounts. For parking loops, you're going to identify the park point. That's usually going to be in front of the first or the last delivery on the loop. If you're not sure where to park, just park in front of the first address. So first thing you should do when you stop your truck is what we harped on in our last episode. You curb it, park it, brake it, take it. And I hope that you start hearing that in your head, because I have now heard that in my head every time I get out of my vehicle. Haunting me. It is haunting me. I got out of my truck today and pulled my key and shut my door, and my head went, curb it, park it, brake it, take it. I hear it in that song now, and it destroys me. So curb your wheels, place the vehicle in park, pull the parking brake, and remove your key from the ignition. Form this habit now. So you're down the line, you're not trying to retrain yourself like I did. Hopefully you had someone in the office who rubber banded your DPS for you or helped you do it, and your flats are all rubber banded, so all you have to do is grab your bundles and go. If you don't have parcels for them too, you should check your parcels. Exit the vehicle, put your satchel on. This is a good habit we're going to form now. You should always carry your satchel on a parking loop. You don't have to for dismounts, technically. But there's a lot there's nuances to it, you know?
Also, you can't carry your satchel with the strap across your chest. It has to be off one shoulder. It can't be off the other shoulder. You have to carry it, I'm sorry, but carry it like a person. You're on the runway and looking pretty. You can't carry it across your strap across the chest. Because it's supposed to be a line of defense. If a dog comes out, you need to be able to use your satchel to give to the dog and be able to slip out of it. That's part of the idea. So you got to carry it over one shoulder. I got in trouble for that one.
Yep. Unless you have a waist satchel because you got injured, and that's like a whole different ball game that we are not going to get into right now. I carry a waist satchel. It's a whole different ball game. So, carry your satchel. Grab your dog spray. This is another habit we're going to build now. You always carry your dog spray. Even if you're on a dismount and you don't bring your bag with you, you should have dog spray. You put your flats in your arm. You're going to cradle them in your arm. And then your DPS, you're going to hold in your hand. And you're going to lock your vehicle. I'm sure you're going to be able to guess what I'm about to say here. This is another good habit that we're forming right now. Always lock your vehicle when you're going to be out of sight of it. If the way that I say it is, if there's a kid that's going to get in my vehicle and steal a package and run, and I can't get there within a couple seconds, I'm locking in my vehicle. It's just how it is, because I don't trust people. Now that you've done everything, you are ready to walk that loop. Remember, like Morris said, this is a no mistake pace. You need to prioritize safety and accuracy, and speed will come with time. The best thing you can do for yourself right now is build good habits, and if you do that, speed will come naturally. You're just going to naturally get faster as you go. So, parking loops, done. Dismounts, that's next. Dismounts have most of the same steps. You pull up to your delivery point, you curb it, park it, brake it, take it. You grab the mail, you grab your dog spray, and you determine if you'll be out of the side of the vehicle. If a kid can run up and steal your stuff before you can get back, you're going to lock the vehicle, and you're going to deliver the mail. That's all there is to it. All right, so we did parking loops. We did dismounts. Now we've got mounted. This one's easy. You need to make sure you're following proper procedure here, though. Building good habits. If you pull up to a box and you have no issues just putting the mail in the box, you need to put the vehicle in neutral if you're on a flat surface, or if you're on a hill, you need to put it in park. You don't have to pull your emergency brake unless you get up from your seat, in which case you should be curbing your wheels and turning your vehicle completely off. And in situations where you can't reach the mailbox, say they got like a really low mailbox, or you kind of pulled a little bit too far away, you can remove your shoulder strap, but only the shoulder strap. This is addressed in a Step 4 settlement from 1985. The MDOC is 00994. It is our position that advising carriers not to put the gear selector in the neutral position at each delivery point on a mounted route was improper. U.S. Postal Service policy in this regard provides that employees performing curbside delivery from right-hand drive vehicles shall follow the procedures of 1. On level streets or roads, placing the vehicle in neutral, placing the foot firmly on the brake pedal while collecting mail or placing mail in the mailbox. 2. On hills, placing the vehicle in park, placing the foot firmly on the brake pedal while collecting mail, or placing mail in the mailbox. If your supervisor claims that it is a time-wasting practice to do that, talk to your steward because that is a grievance.
So we're putting it in park or neutral every time we get to a mailbox, right?
Correct.
Awesome. Because no one told me that when I first started.
Yep. And it's, if it's flat, just neutral's fine. I usually end up putting it in park every time because my gear selector is not very happy with me because it's a piece of shit. So I just put it in park because a lot of the times when I try to put it in neutral, I just accidentally throw it in reverse. Okay, so that was kind of the street section. That's really all there is to it. I mean, those are the 3 types of delivery. There's certain little bits and bobs and doodads. Just, be nice to people. Don't fuck with dogs. Do the right things in your vehicle. That's about it. We got a couple miscellaneous little tips and tricks and things that we have. Those might help you. They might not. But we're going to go over a few things anyway. So, Badmouth, you want to take it away?
Yeah. I think first to start off, and we've talked about before, this no mistake pace. We're going to keep hammering this one home, just like curb it, park it, break it, take it. We're going to hammer home. Yep. We're going to hammer home the no mistake pace. We're going to focus on, remember, your job is to work safely and accurately. Speed comes later, and speed is the least important thing we're dealing with right now, okay? Focus on accuracy and safety and a job well done. If I walk through lawns, right? I feel safe and comfortable walking through lawns. I will come up to a lawn that is not well kept or has a bunch of toys in it because there's a bunch of kids there. If it just snowed a little bit, I'm not going to walk through that lawn because I don't know what's hiding underneath that snow. I'm going to walk the sidewalk. You just focus on being safe and accurate, right? We're just hammering that one home. So no mistake pace, guys. No mistake. You can make a mistake. That's what your 90 days are for. But try to make as little as possible as far as making sure that we're getting the right mail in the right box and we're being safe about it.
So I kind of wanted to talk about the union a little bit more. You guys know I'm a steward and I'm highly involved with the union at this point. Hopefully when you were in academy, someone from the union dropped by, introduced themselves, say hi, talk about the union, and told you why it's important to pay dues and get involved. If they didn't, they freaking should have. The National Association of Letter Carriers represents 295,000 active and retired letter carriers across the country. We handle grievances where management has violated the contract in some way, shape, form, or fashion. We defend you against discipline and attempt to mitigate any negative marks on your record. We provide educated advice on how to handle certain situations during work, maintain a level of expertise on rules, regulations, contractual provisions, proper procedure, and the likes, and generally act as a liaison between rank-and-file carriers and the union as a whole. Typically, a branch will notate what extra money they take out for dues in their bylaws. Your branch spends a lot of its money on paying the stewards and officers for their work, like equipment costs and costs associated with filing grievances, like computers and printers and mailing documents and stuff like that. They spend their money on sending members to training and conventions, social gatherings and events, like if your branch does rallies or cookouts or Christmas parties, and merchandise and goodies for the members. Like my branch buys Gatorade and popsicles in the summer for us. It's really cool. You don't have to be a branch officer or steward to be involved in your union. Your branch is required to hold a number of meetings throughout the year where members and branch officers will gather to discuss issues in the office, news from headquarters, vote on various topics that are applicable to members, stuff like that. Showing up to your branch meetings can be incredibly educational, and depending on your branch, you might end up with a door prize or free food or whatever means your branch utilizes to try to encourage members to come to meetings. I know a lot of branches do. We can delve deeper into the union some other time, but I really, really, really highly encourage everyone to get involved with your local union because one person can make a huge difference. Believe me, they really can, and you could be that difference. Please get involved with your union. Please, 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 please.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some of that stuff in the Solidarity Soapbox at the end of the episode too. So yeah, no, get involved. I wouldn't have a job if it wasn't for my steward. Yes, the schedule. and how it changes. Guys, CCAs are by definition a flexible workforce, right? Which means your schedule can change from day to day. We can delve into the specifics further on a different episode because we're definitely going to tackle this one more in depth later. But we need to advise you to check your schedule daily and make sure they haven't changed it on you. Okay, your steward should be knowledgeable on how you should be scheduled. At a minimum, you should be aware that if you're on the schedule, changes have to be made before you leave the day prior. Once you're on the schedule, you're entitled to 2 or 4 hours of work, depending on how large your office is. Right? Like at my office, if they schedule me to work and then they change their mind and they try and text me the next morning, I'm not going to answer that text message. I'm going to show up for work, and they got to find me 4 hours worth of work because that's what my office does. Right? So be mindful of that. Talk to your steward about that. To get the details down there.
And that's like we just had this big snowstorm up here. I went into work. I got done with the packages that we got and the little bit of mail I had left over from yesterday. We didn't get any trucks that day. And I was done within an hour. And I still had another hour of guaranteed time. So I did a bunch of other random stuff. Did like my labels on my case and did some safety stuff, like signing off on OSHA forms and all kinds of goodies. Like they have to find you work to do because you are guaranteed a certain amount of time when you are scheduled.
Yeah, and if they just send you home, enjoy the rest of your day and get a hold of your steward and grieve that, and they're gonna have to pay you for the time that they didn't give you.
Mm-hmm. Now, if that being said, though, if that you come in and they say, "Hey, we don't have any work for you. We can try to find you 2 hours of work, or you can just go home." If they offer you work and you choose to go home, you don't have a
Yeah.
grievance. Unfortunately, you
Yeah.
have to, they have to try. Okay. So your personal vehicle, your car, your truck, your Jeep, your Cybertruck, whatever it is you're driving. Management may ask you to use your vehicle if they're short vehicles from their fleet, or if you're traveling in between offices, like say you start in your home office and you get sent somewhere later. Before management asks you to do this, you should probably call your insurance company and verify that you are covered if you get into an accident while you're on the clock. Because more than likely, you are not. Because you don't pay for commercial insurance. You pay for private personal insurance just to get back and forth to work. If you start at an office and then get sent to another office, you should be taking a postal vehicle. Not only does this ensure that if you're in an accident, you're not out an entire car of your own, but you've got, like, let's say you've got an hour drive home and you hit your 10 and a half hours for the day, right? We're only supposed to work 11 and a half hours, but you've got an hour drive home. So now you got to tell management, hey, I've got an hour drive home and I'm going to go over 11 and a half if I don't leave. They know that that's a grievance and they're going to send you home. It gets you out of there quicker. And that's just a little trick if you hate getting sent to other offices like I do. But, it's also a good reason to drive a postal vehicle, not only to protect your personal vehicle, but to kind of, play the system a little bit, play the game. EA Sports, it's in the game.
All right, now your personal cell phone. So here's what I tell every new CCA who comes into my station. In your 90 days, I'm sorry guys, but you want to be answering that phone, right? They're good because they're going to be calling you, changing their mind on stuff, sending you everywhere else, and like you got to kind of answer in your 90 days. On your 91st day, block their fucking number. Like pro move is to not block their number because they will be texting you and calling you and saying crazy shit that you can use in a grievance, and you got that. If they're not blocked, just don't respond, right? You don't have to answer. They don't pay your cell phone bill, okay? They have the MDD or your scanner that they can message you with. If you are on the schedule and they want to call you that the morning on your way into work, if you're on the schedule to go to your home station, they want to call you on your way into work to try and send you to another station or tell you have the day off, don't answer that shit. What text message? What call? You have no obligation to answer any of that on your 91st day. Okay? They're going to try and train you and get you into doing that. Don't do that. You have no obligation, and they're going to just use that to try and fuck around with you and keep you in an on-call status and all this other crazy nonsense. They don't pay your cell phone bill, okay? So just your personal cell phone is your personal cell phone, just like your personal vehicle is your personal vehicle. That's not postal property. You shouldn't be using that on the job technically anyway, right? They need to contact you through the MDD and through hanging up a schedule like is their job to do. Okay? The reason that a lot of them don't want to talk to you on the MDD is because their bosses see what they say on the MDD, and they're too much cowards to say some of the crazy shit on the MDD that they'll say on your cell phone. You don't have to answer your phone after your 91st day. One caveat to that, I will say, if you are in an office that doesn't have a lot of hours, you might want to answer your phone. Because if you're only working 10 hours a week and you want more hours, of course, answer your phone. If you were like in my situation that I was in, where I was working 60 plus hours, I'm not answering my phone, right? So you kind of got to play it by ear.
It's situational. Like, I'll answer the phone sometimes if I want to, if I'm feeling it. If management calls me on my off day and I'm like, yeah, I could go somewhere. This is probably them calling me somewhere. I could do that. I'll answer my phone, see what they got to say. But if not, nah, I'm busy.
Yeah.
All right. I want to talk to you about your breaks, because you get breaks and there's people out there that skip their breaks. If I could reach out and grab those people's hands and smack them for skipping their breaks right now, I would. Because you, as a carrier, are entitled to one 10-minute break until you hit 6 hours of work. When you hit 6 hours of work, you are entitled to a 10 and an additional 30. I have a chart that somebody made. I don't know who it was. I wish I did, because I would give them full credit for this, because this chart's amazing. It's a chart that tells you how much money you lose by skipping your breaks. As a Step BB carrier, which is the first rate carrier, your pay rate is $19.33 an hour. It's not a lot, I know. But your 10-minute break is technically worth $3.22. So 2 10-minute breaks are worth $6.44. And your lunch is worth $9.67. So your lunch and your breaks are $16 worth of work that you are performing, that you should not be performing. You should not be working during your breaks, because you're missing out on $16 if you skip all your breaks in a day. So let's say you skip your breaks for a week. That's $32 and some change. That's just your 10-minute breaks, rather. If you skip your 2 10-minute breaks for a month, that's $139 that you have worked that you shouldn't have worked. You're missing out on $139 of free work. A year's worth of 2 10-minute breaks is $1,675. You skip your lunches for just a month, that's $209. Skip your lunches for a year, $2,512. That's not chump change anymore, y'all. That's not $9.67. That's thousands of dollars you're missing out on. So if you skip both of your lunches and your breaks, you are constantly skipping your breaks for an entire year. $4,188.17. If you're skipping your breaks, you're shorting yourself money. You're not doing yourself a favor. You're not doing them a favor. Anybody who knows me as their steward will tell you management likes to fuck with us. There's a lot of stuff in my itty bitty office that I can kind of look past if it's just, like a one-time thing, or maybe I'll say, hey, I could grieve that and give them the stink eye, but I don't let them fuck with my money. I don't let them fuck with my money. I don't let them fuck with my carrier's money. I don't let them fuck with anybody's money. The second that they start fucking with somebody's money, they're fucking with me. We got a fucking problem. Do not let them fuck with your money and pressure you into skipping your breaks. This pisses me the fuck off. Don't do that shit. I will grab your hand and smack it. Okay. I'm calm now.
Oh, I wanted to say, jump in on the taking breaks thing. There's also 2 other ways to look at it. A, it's a safety issue. Working all day without taking breaks is a safety issue in management. It's management's mandate to make sure you take your breaks, right? So them pressuring you to not take your breaks, yeah, like Mallory was saying, don't let them fuck with your money. We don't work for free, and we don't work unsafely. And it's a safety issue to not take your breaks. And also, if you are skipping your breaks, the next CCA who comes in behind you is going to be pressured to run through their breaks too. That's we're all in this shit together. And no one likes a runner, just like no one likes a snitch, and no one likes a scab, and no one likes a rat, and no one likes a runner. A runner is
Yeah.
going to run through their brakes, and they're going to make it harder on everyone else. Because if management can get you to run through your brakes, they can get me to run through my brakes, they can get Mallory to run through her brakes.
No, the
When
fuck they
Cole
can't.
comes in, well, no, they can't. But like, this is a hypothetical. When Cole comes in, they're gonna have an easier time trying to bully Cole into running through his brakes. So we don't run through our brakes, because if you run through your brakes, you are hurting your fellow carrier. It's unsafe, and you're working for free, man. Let's not do that shit.
$4,188.17.
I've never actually done the math. That's I fucking hate that so much.
Yeah. All right. Finally, we want to hand the mic over to Richie Ray from the Hot House to talk to you about your virtual time card and how important it is to check your times.
Brothers and sisters, how is everybody? My name is Richie Ray, the host of the Hot House with Richie Ray and second vice president of Branch 41 Merge, Brooklyn and Staten Island, New York letter carriers, and supporter of the CLC and our brother-in-arms, James Henry. Thank you, CCA Corner, for having me. I started my career 25 years ago as a rural carrier and then a city letter carrier and a union representative for most of my years. I began to represent letter carriers, I guess, around 4 or 5 months on the job. I want to go over something that I think all of you should know, the virtual time card. It's very important, and I will have everything I'm reading to you. I will send it over to the CCA Corner, and they can post it on the website if they want to. An application that allows USPS employees to view their time clock ring entries using personal computers or mobile devices. The virtual time card can be found in the employee app, quick link options on light blue. The virtual time card app provides employees with near real-time secure access to their time and attendance collection system, clock entries, and occurred work hours. The data is refreshed approximately every 5 minutes. The app is useful for keeping track of your work hours and to verify your work hours are correct and without errors. The bottom line is you can see if any time was deleted, if management put you in for AWOL, for LWAP, they didn't give you your sick leave or your annual leave, you will see that in the entries. I'm not going to go through how you can get to it. I'll have to post it. But where does the virtual time card data come from? The virtual time card data comes from clock rings recorded in the time and attendance collection system called TAX. How often is the virtual time data refreshed? Virtual time card data is refreshed approximately every 5 minutes. Who should I contact if I have any questions about errors or omissions I see on my virtual time card? Please contact your immediate supervisor. That is the USPS instruction. But to me, you go to your immediate supervisor, but also go to your shop steward so your shop steward can follow up and making sure any type of clock ring fraud or any type of errors in your time clock or attendance is correct right away. Brothers and sisters, what's so important about the time card, the virtual time card, is that you actually could see what management's doing in real time. You end your tour today at 6 p.m. You can look at your virtual time card at 8 o'clock and see if anyone deleted your time at any given time. My advice to you is check it every day, but I would definitely check it in the ended tour of every Friday. I would definitely make sure all your time is collected properly. It could get fixed in real time. Do not allow it to happen. I want all of you to understand that if management disallows your time, that's called disallowed time. They delete your time. They have to record that on PS Form 1017A, which was revised in April of 2024. This form has not changed, no matter if there's electronic or not. Management has to fill out this form. It has to be recorded, handwritten recorded. 1017A is going to have a date. It's going to have that supervisor. It's going to have remarks. And it's also going to have the date of when they spoke to the carrier to let them know they're disallowing time. And the carrier's got to agree to disallowing their time. Management can't just delete your time without a dispute. Disallowing your time means you did not work. That means a supervisor saw you in the street or saw you in the office hanging around the locker room for 20 minutes doing absolutely nothing. That could be disallowed, but you need to be notified. I will send this information over to the CCA corner so that way they can post this. I wish all of you a great new year, 2025. Be blessed, be careful, stay informed, and thank you to the CCA corner, Badmouth Morris, Mallory Sutton, and Cole Billups. You guys are doing an amazing job. Thank you.
Okay, so there was a couple things that Richie mentioned that we should clarify. He used a couple abbreviations there. AWOL. If you don't know what AWOL is, that means absent without leave, also known as no call, no show, or ghosting, or playing hooky. And then LWOP stands for leave without pay. That's, you don't have annual leave, you don't have sick leave, they put you down for LWOP. Last thing is how to access your virtual time card. So I'm going to put a link in the show notes to a guide from the National Postal Mail Handlers Union on how to set up LightBlue. Basically, go to lightblue.usps.gov on your browser. Make sure it's .gov. Under the sign-in section, there's a link to self-service profile. You'll set up your self-service profile, and then you'll be able to log into LightBlue and go from there. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I think to wrap up, because I know there's some stuff we missed, and I know you guys are gonna tell us about it, which is awesome, and we're gonna make sure we can address that. But to wrap up this episode, we're gonna get on our solidarity soapbox. All right, guys. This week or this episode, we're gonna talk about getting organized, because you keep hearing everywhere the CCAs need to get organized. The CCAs need to get organized. They need to band together and all that. I guarantee you're already doing some of this shit, right? You've already started being an organizer just by taking the time to educate yourself by listening to this podcast, listening to Walton's podcast, listening to Hot House, listening to Classes of Mail by Mr. Gigax. Like, just educating yourself, you've already taken the first step. And the second step is when you talk to your fellow CCAs at Amazon Sunday and in your station, right, about this stuff. You're already an organizer. You're already taking the steps into being a leader, right? One thing that I recommend that you do to get organized is start a group chat with your fellow CCAs. Like I do that with my CCAs coming in. I give everyone my number. We talk about stuff because that's going to be a cool way where you can network for shit that's going on in your station, right? You can talk about safety issues. Oh, safety's out. They're driving the safety lady's out. She's driving a black Mercedes. I just seen her down on Nell, right? You put that in the group chat. You're allowed to do that shit, and like everyone else in that group chat's gonna be like, okay, cool. They know what to look for when we got these headhunters out. You can talk about issues on the route. You can talk about like just taking care of each other and like so and so. This manager is super nice, but also I found out later completely rolled over on me and completely hung me out to dry on this shit. Don't trust her. That type of thing, right? There's a dog on Griggs you got to watch for. You're just start that group chat. You're already, that's the next step into organizing, right? And you become a support structure for each other. Like, hey, I'm having a hard time with this carrier in the office, or I'm having a hard time on this street, or like, hey, I can't seem to get down this hop thing. I feel like I'm messing up all the time. Like, you guys can you get to take care of each other in a better way. And also when your branch meeting comes around, you can get your buds together to go hit up that branch meeting and ask questions in there and see what's going on at your branch, right? This open communicating in an open way often is also going to help out your steward, because if you're all getting bullied by the same manager and you're all talking to each other and know about all that shit, you can write good statements for your steward If you're all talking to each other, you can write good statements for your steward to get a class action against that manager, right? Y'all talking to each other, that's organization, right? And like, once you build your clique, you can get more involved with national movements as a whole, right? You don't need to click for that, but I guarantee you it makes it easier, right? You can get involved in like the CLC. Mallory's going to put links for them up to get to their website to like learn about that more, and then like building a fighting NALC too, and like those wildcats over there, like y'all can get involved and see what's happening on a national stage, and getting involved with your friends that you're organizing at that workroom floor and at Amazon Sunday. You can link into that and hook into everything that's going on nationally and make a difference. We act locally and we think globally, and what that means is we pay attention to what's going on the national stage, and we make those changes here in our office now. That's what organizing is, right? So getting involved and getting organized sounds pretty intimidating, right? But I guarantee you're already doing it's way easier than it sounds. You're already doing a lot of that shit. If you've ever organized a birthday party, you know how to organize for the union, right? And we'll talk more about like how to do that stuff later. I just want to let you guys know and empower you guys to know that like you are already leaders, you are already organizers. You just need to figure out the next step to take, right? So that's Solidarity Soapbox.
And to add on to that, that you don't have to have just like a group chat. You could have a private Facebook group. You could have a WhatsApp group. You could have your own Discord. I know of a office near me, shout out to the homies, they know who they are, who have a Discord for their office, and it's mostly CCAs in there, and they're always in there talking about what's going on, talking about this evil manager that they've got up there, and if they got called in, and posting pictures of the schedule for each other. Like it's so cool to see that. And I'm only in there just because like I know the people, but it's so cool. I love that they have that means of communication with each other. Shout out to the homies. I like you guys. Y'all are cool.
Yeah.
So that's going to do it for us for this episode. Be sure you send us feedback and suggestions. We always read them. You can contact us on formatorarbitration.com/contact. You can email Morris at formatorarbitration.com. You can email me at Mallory@formatorarbitration.com. You can find us on Discord. You can find us on Reddit using the CCA Corner Flare on the Formator Arbitration Reddit page. So immediately following this episode, we have another episode, which is an impromptu conversation with Alan Gigax from Classes of Mail. I want to personally thank Alan Gigax for taking the time to talk to us, and I also want to thank Richie Ray for having us on the Hot House this past week. If you haven't listened to that, check out Hot House with Richie Ray. We were on that. We talked to him about CCAs and the problems CCAs have. I really appreciate all these podcasters like reaching out and helping lift us up as we get started. It's really, really cool to make all these connections. But thank you guys for joining us. And be sure to join us in 2 weeks. TM, trademark, 2 weeks. Where we will have another episode full of education and some fun stuff all along the way. Bye, guys.
Yeah, love you guys. Be safe and take care of each other.